And good morning. Welcome to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. We appreciate you joining us. If you're watching us live, thank you for that. If you are listening to us or watching the video later, we appreciate that as well. Do hope you're not watching the video as you drive. Would appreciate that. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Appreciate you checking us out there. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. $5 a month. We also have an app. If you don't want to pay the $5 a month, the app sends out breaking news, traffic, weather, those sorts of things, accidents, arrests. If you're interested in that, pick up the app. You can just swipe off any of the content that's paid, but it also gives you notifications when we release that kind of content. We also have long-form podcasts that are at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We post these shows there as well. They are free. We did one with Mr. Gary Frog Talbert last Friday. We also did one with the library on Thursday. We'll be talking about the master plan this week as part of almost all 4 shows, as well as a long podcast. So be prepared for that. Again, those come to any podcast platform that you might have, including Apple Podcasts. Finally got them. If you don't listen to podcasts, but you want to listen to these, again, they're on our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. Let's check out our traffic for today. Still some growing pains with the school traffic. Delays north and south of Live Oak High School. Delays on 64 heading into Central. Delays at 190 4-H Club Road and River Road in western Denham Springs as people come together trying to get into Baton Rouge. Delays on I-12 westbound, not as bad today, usually backed up past Jubin. Today, pretty light, only backed up to about Pete's Highway. You're going to break free roughly about O'Neill, and then some minor delays after the 10-12 split. It's currently 74 degrees, nice little morning. Going to be sunny, 0% chance of rain as Dorian has dragged a lot of moisture to the east of us. High of 94. It will be a hot one today as we move into the week. Low chance of rain this week, not a whole lot of it going all the way into next Monday. So it will be a bright and sunshiny week, probably one of the final hot weeks of the summer, as we're looking at highs of 97, 98, and 99. Probably with a heat index, it'll be somewhere in the 100s. So jumping into the news for today. On Friday, we discussed, before we got into it, with Mr. Gary Frog Talbert, that a jury had convicted Mr. Martin Morgan in the 2018 slaying of Michael Neufeld. We ran a more extended version of the verdict, which you can read at www.livingstonparishnews.com/news. But what the jury, or what the defense found, and what the jury agreed with, was that not only was Mr. Neufeld unarmed, but Mr. Martin was not defending himself against Mr. Neufeld. After witnesses discussed the situation, it appeared definitely that Mr. Martin had attacked and killed Mr. Neufeld. Second-degree murder was the charge. It was a 12-0 count from the jury, who deliberated for about 19 minutes. So that will be life in prison with no chance of parole. 2 men were also arrested over the weekend in Albany for gun possession. So we have that. Coming up Thursday, central focus will be the master plan of the paper. So the paper's focus will be the master plan, such that it's been brought up by Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse. We're currently strolling through it here at the news. We'll be rolling out the first issue will be about land use and zoning. We'll get into that, but we will also be posting the master plan, a copy of it, online and a free part of our website so that you can go download it and look at it. This is the master plan that was passed in 2013. It was passed by resolution, not ordinance, so it was technically non-binding. Something that's very interesting about what happened at that point is that once that master plan was passed, they immediately, they being the parish council, went into a vote on whether or not individual zoning districts should exist. So the initial focus was to zone what is called the economic corridor, which is an area about 1 mile south and 1.5 miles north of I-12. The idea was to bring both zoning and special infrastructure into the area to promote growth. One of the things the master plan says, and I'm going to repeat this a lot, is that sales tax growth or tax-based growth has not grown fast enough or increased fast enough to keep up with residential growth. The master plan said it in 2013. A lot of us know it's true now. So what happened after passing the master plan in 2013, they went into that vote. Well, it failed, even though, the reason I brought up the economic corridor is because that was part of the original master plan. And then the second part of the implementation plan says that the individual districts should be formed and should have their own decisions about zoning. Why was that brought up? Was because there was east versus west contention. For reasons that are unclear, since this was about 6 years ago, may have been political, that vote failed to make individual zoning districts. It was brought up by Mr. Ronnie Sharp in Springfield because, as you can imagine, people in the east may not want the same zoning or zoning at all as compared to the people in the west. Why the folks in the west absolutely had to have parish-wide zoning, not entirely sure, but what happened after that is that the master plan just disappeared. It never came back up. There was discussion of it, but no real votes. Nothing real solid came back of it. Not a reminder, but to let you know that the original document was $450,000, and it was funded through a FEMA grant. So if you want to know why FEMA doesn't really like to dish out money, there's a good reason. At any rate, as we go through these shows, and again, there'll be a long-form podcast which will pull it all together, but we'll give you little bits and pieces of the master plan from 2013. We're also going to put the full document online. We will put it on this live video if you are looking for it. If you're listening or watching later, you can find it online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We will have it posted there, and you can check that out, read through it. It's about 114 pages. It's dense, but it's full of a lot of good information. We're going to do our best to pull out all of that information and present it in such a way that's easy to read if you don't feel like reading the master plan itself. There are a lot of different sections of it, starting with land use. There's also drainage, sewer, water, emergency preparedness, coastal protection. It's very interesting. A lot of the things that we're just now really wrapping our head around, the master plan was addressing in 2013. Traffic infrastructure is another one. So it'll be interesting to take a little walk through it, see what was going on in 2013. But all of this has to be a reminder that it is a guideline. There are various implementation plans for each piece of it, and they will require a parish-wide planning manager, and it will also require engineers. So nothing different, or there was no reason, I guess you can say, to start this over because it already existed. Now, part of the plan has to be updated. But we shall see just exactly how this first piece, which is land use and zoning, carries, depending on whether or not the parish council will pass the master plan in its original form from 2013. It's called Envision Livingston. I know that Tracy Gerlinghouse, the parish councilman from District 7, said that his initial goal was zoning in his district. So we will see what he does with all that, if those kind of things will pass, and if they can get the ball rolling this time as opposed to it just sort of dying off. So, time will tell. The Livingston Parish delegation is back from Washington, D.C. We're going to try to catch up with them about their arbitration efforts with FEMA regarding inundated roads. Inundated roads have become part of disaster recovery grant funding, which means you had to apply for it. You could be denied. And so there's, and also said that though there's some language in that text that says they do not cover inundated roads in most instances. A little conflicting. We'll see how things went up there in DC. As soon as we can catch up with those folks, we will let you know. Football came. We will be trying to get together with William and Rob to talk to them about what happened last week at those Jamboree games, and now here we are, week 1 of the high school football season, and they will be getting kicked off this Friday, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on. Yours truly will be at Ponchatoula to do some photography. Should be fun. They take again, Live Oak takes on Ponchatoula in that game. Last week, Denham was a little befuddled. Per Coach Conadies with their Jamboree on Thursday, they lost to Dutchtown 17-7. Live Oak Sword had a really good game, 28-19 over West Jefferson. Walker had turnover issues against Catholic High. It didn't end well for them. They'll have a lot to address going into the next week. Albany, 26-0 win over Pope John Paul. Great start. Really good start for Mr. Michael Janis, our coach Michael Janis. They'll be looking to carry that momentum into the regular season. Springfield had a bit of an interesting game, 8-0. They lost. However, they are switching it up. For those of you who may have been paying attention to Springfield over the last 15 years or so, very much a Air Force option offense. Now they're looking to have a little balance, so they're going through some growing pains with that. But you can check all that out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. Now, a couple of feel-good stories. There are 2 girls in Livingston Parish who are playing high school football. A lady by the name of Davis plays for Springfield, and a lady by the name of Alvarado plays for Albany. It's a story written by Rob DeArmond. It's a great story about these 2 ladies. We wish them all the best of luck. We hope they perform well this season. It is at www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. You can check it out there. Also, Mr. David Gray has tracked down the Southside Junior High homecoming court for the 2019-2020 school year. You can check that out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. Last but certainly not least, your real good feel good story for the day. Mr. Levi Russell. Some of you may or may not know him. He is the young man who has raised money in the past for protective vests for law enforcement. He's the guy who likes to walk up to these law enforcement cars, knock on the door, and say hello. They usually know him by name. Mr. David Gray tracked him down with his grandparents and kind of got to take a look at the day in the life of Levi, and it's a great story. He very clearly wants to be in law enforcement when he grows up. He loves those guys, and they love him. When people see him and know who he is, they always want to give him a high five, talk to him about what they're doing, ask him how he's feeling. It's a great story. One of the gentlemen that Mr. Gray interviewed said that he was a special young man. So you can check that story out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. One more time around the bend here. Traffic seems to be emptying out in Watson and Denham Springs from the high school and the junior high, the 2 high schools and the junior high. Of course, that means delays are starting to back up past Peace Highway on I-12 heading westbound. Traffic seems to be sifting through very well at the relatively speaking, at the 190 4-H Club Road and River Road intersection. Traffic also moving well on 64 heading into Central. Those delays on I-12 westbound still looking to empty out right about O'Neill Lane. Looking pretty good after that. Small delays at the 10-12 split. Currently 74 degrees. Again, going to be a hot week this week. Dorian, keep Florida in your thoughts. Dorian has pulled a lot of that moisture that direction. Low chances of rain every day, maybe a chance for a spot shower in the afternoon if it gets warm enough. Highs of 97 and 98 and 99 going through into next week, but relatively cool nights in the low 70s. So a lot of variation in the temperature. Appreciate you joining us this morning. If you watched us live, if you're listening to us or watching us online, appreciate that as well. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Hope that you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are on those social media platforms putting out all the good word. I hope you can check these shows out. If you miss them or can't make one day and want to catch back up, they're at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We also put our long form podcast there. It is free. It's a free section of our website where you can go listen to these to your heart's content. We would appreciate that. Thanks again for joining us here on this Tuesday after Labor Day. Everybody probably getting back into the groove of work. We hope you have a great day, and we will check you out this afternoon.